Hi, welcome. Today is July 15th, 2014, and this is a spirit gathering call, and my name is Amy Skezas. Our topic tonight is opening our new school, and I am so excited to be here with you and so glad that you could join us. We're going to be recording the call now, so people who can't be here tonight can listen in. And so as we're doing our energy practices and prayers and meditations together tonight, our little moments of silence and connectivity and inward focus and connecting our hearts and things like that, please think of all the people who are on the call, but also the ones who will be listening in later through time when you connect your heart to theirs. Thank you. Tonight we're going to meet as a talking stick council. If we were in person around a campfire, I would have a stick or a stone, and when I'm done talking, I would put that stone down, and when the next person was ready, they'd come over and pick it up and hold it and talk, then they'd put it down and so forth. But we're going to use a virtual talking stick since we're on a telephone, and that's just like a rule of order. It just means we don't talk over each other, so only one person's talking at a time. It just helps us all hear each other more clearly and be heard more clearly. So when you're finished talking, just say, I'm putting down the stick. And when you say that, then the next person who has a desire to talk can know that there's a space and they can step in and say, I'm picking up the stick, and then talk. And one of the great features about a talking stick council, a circle, is the pause. And this is a pure spirit circle method that lets us open space to reflect on what's unfolding with us. And Laura Morningstar Wolf is going to act as our guardian tonight. And if there's any point at which she hears the need for a pause, she'll ask us to have a moment of silence. So welcome. Who's just joined us?
Judith Truestone.
Hi, Judith. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Calling from Philadelphia, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Great. All right. And I'm going to keep time tonight with little chimes. I'm going to ring these chimes about every 10 minutes, just so we know how much time is passing. And I'm going to give you a sample chime here. Can you hear that okay?
Yep.
Anybody, can you hear that?
Yep. Yeah,
great.
It's a little bit loud.
Okay, great. I'll hold it farther away from the mic. Thanks for the feedback. So when you hear that, it doesn't mean stop. It just means 10 minutes. Another 10 minutes has passed. Okay. Let's take a moment now to get settled, to center ourselves, to let go of the events of this day, and to begin to enter the deeper, sacred space within ourselves. And now let us imagine that we are joining together in a circle with a light or a flame or a campfire in the center. Imagine a spoke of light coming from the center of the circle to your heart. And for each person on the call tonight or listening after, imagine that spoke of light for them. And now we're connected, sacred heart to sacred heart, through the center of the circle. Now let us set our intentions. We listen to one another with compassion and curiosity. We ask for what we need, and we offer what we can. We deepen our connection with one another and the divine. May this sharing serve us, our communities, and the planet. And so it is. So the starting point for our council tonight is the fact that we're getting ready to open our new school. I've been working on this project for a long time, and some of the people on this call have been working with me for a very long time, and many people who are not on this call have been helping for a very long time. So I've been the visionary leader of this project, but it's been a group effort. And I am so excited that we're getting ready now to open our doors and really do it. We've done pilot projects to test various parts of the curriculum, and we started working on that as far back as 2000, and it's 2014 now. So it seems very auspicious to me that finally there's a convergence, and all the pieces are coming together. And now it's time to bring you into the circle with your questions and your concerns and your excitement and your needs. So I'm here to answer your questions. And tonight is really about a chance for you to share from your heart about what you want to know about or be witnessed in a story that you want to share or in whatever way you want to be a part of this circle tonight. The school is a seminary, and it's a spiritual seminary, not a religious seminary. It is the education body for new clergy for the organization known as Tzaddi. And Tzaddi is a church, but it's an interspiritual church. That's like an interfaith church, but interspiritual, meaning we recognize lots of different ways that people connect with Source, that people connect with the divine, and that we're good with that. It doesn't have to be one way. There are lots of ways to do it. We don't support people using manipulation or harming others in the name of spirituality. And we have an ethical code that we ask people to follow. And we have 21 principles that were put down by Tzaddi's founders, Amy Keyes and Dorothy Blackmere. And those 21 principles in our ethics code are really what guides us. And so it's not like anything goes. You can't just, like go out and kill a chicken and say, that's going to be okay with you, right? It's not, because that's violence. But it's perfectly all right to go out and hold a chicken on your lap and feel the God in that chicken and feel celebration and joy for life. We would recognize that as a perfectly valid way through nature to connect with the divine. So we're interested in, and we're putting out the call for people who are spiritual, who are drawn to service, and who want a formation program that fits their beliefs, their culture, and works with these 21 principles, our beliefs, and our culture, our ethics code. We have an organization that can provide support and sustenance. And you, the people who want to give service, can provide your energy and your light and make that contribution into the organization by your presence, by choosing to partner with us as your educational institution. So it really is a partnership between Tzaddi and those who are in Tzaddi as clergy. And Gowden is the name of the school, Gowden University, and it's a partnership with Gowden University, which is the actual school within the church. Now, I spent a long time interviewing the Tzaddi founders before they passed away in 2012, I had many years of really great relationships with both Amy and Dorothy, and I spent a lot of time interviewing people who aren't in the church anymore, some of whom have passed over into spirit, as well as lots of people who are in the church, as well as people who left the church for one reason and another. And so I did a lot of deep reflecting on those years and years of interviews, and I felt that I reached a very clear insight and discernment, a spiritual discernment, about what the essence of Tzaddi really was to the founders, and how each person in all these disparate communities and disparate life circumstances was getting something really uplifting from being connected with Tzaddi. And I went into my own spiritual guidance, my own inner knowing, and from that place I crafted the curriculum for this school. And it's a 4-year program to go from very beginning to very end if you stay within the regularly scheduled time allotments for each part of the program. And it can also be cut back to be a much shorter program. The very minimum program to get ordained is a 2-year program. And at the end of that, you become a spiritual healer counselor. And if you want to go on and become a minister, then it's another year. So minister is 3 years. And then Doctor of Ministry is the full 4-year program. And it's very flexible. People can do it 1 year at a time and then assess at the end of that year, do I want to go on? Do I have enough for now? And maybe I'll come back later and complete. The first year is called Core, and it is all the information that I and the board of directors feel that a clergy person in an interspiritual church, and specifically our interspiritual church, needs to know. There are legal things you need to know. There are boundary things you need to know to really be a helping professional. And that first year's worth of material, it's a reading year. So year 1 is a reading year, and it's called Core. You do readings, you take quizzes. You can get started on that at home on your own, and it's almost all the material was written by me, and everything that was written by me is free. So you can download that today and start working on it. It's a way for you to check out our philosophy and what we think is good practices and really see in your heart, am I aligned with this? Is this something I want to partake of? And if so, when you feel ready, then you can enroll. So the first year is Core, and the second year is Spiritual Healer Counselor. And in that year, it begins the action part of your program, where you set your goals for development, and you choose the area of focus, and you get credit for work that you've done in other schools, like healing schools, if you're a Reiki person, if you do auric healing, if you do light body, if you do flow alignment and connection, all these different things, if you do ceremony for healing, prayer circles or pipe ceremony, all different ways, spiritual counseling, it's a very big umbrella. And you can bring that technique into our program and receive a professional polishing and then walk out with certification, ordination as a spiritual healer counselor in our church as clergy. And that gives you a protection of belonging to our organization. It gives you a structure. It gives you an ethics code. And that's the first level of degree granting that we're doing, or certificate granting, if you will. The core program is the prep year. There's no certificate or degree associated with that. So year 1 is core, year 2 is healer counselor, year 3 is minister, and you choose your focus of ministry. Ministry just means service. So you might be coming from a Jewish background and not a Christian background, and that would be perfectly okay with us. your ministry could be a Jewish form of service. Okay, maybe it's doing mitzvah. Maybe it's giving education in the Torah and how that's helping people in their spiritual development. You could be a free spirit, not associated with any biblical tradition, and do your ministry by helping people or animals or whatever it is you feel called to do. So there are guidelines on our website about how you present that so that it fits into our structure. You choose a focus for your ministry, and you talk about your goals for development, and that's the action part of the minister's program. And then the fourth year, Doctor of Ministry, you can intensify your focus as a minister in that same area. Let's say you're doing a prison chaplaincy for your ministry work, and you really want to strengthen your prison chaplaincy, and you feel that having a structured program would help you do that, you can choose to go deeper into that in your fourth year with the support of our faculty. Or you could say, all right, to augment what my work is in prisons, I need to really focus a little bit on relationship ministry. So I'm going to take a year of really delving into that for myself with the support of the faculty and bring that back to the work I'm doing in prison. So it's very, very flexible. It's set up for the action part for years 2, 3, and 4, where you basically are given assignments that are like writing assignments and healing work assignments, and you go out and do those in your community. You do your projects in your community. You write them up. You bring them back. The faculty looks over your work, and you get that supervision in that way. In all the years of action work where you're out doing service, there are reflective practice requirements. You're asked to sit with a reflective practice counselor once a quarter and reflect on your work together, reflect on your own needs and longings and how that's a part of and influencing your work. And we have really great staff who help you with that, faculty who are reflective practice counselors. You get to sit with me as a skills examiner, where I take your goals that you mentioned and the skills that you said you want to increase, and I test you using my skills and then give you feedback about how I think you're doing. And some people are really daunted by this. It's not an exercise in criticism. It's something you can really, really embrace because it's constructive. I so wish that when I had started doing my spiritual helping work, I had someone who could sit on my shoulder and watch what I was doing and tell me how I was doing. Someone in a human body, because I had lots of angels telling me. But it's different having a person to talk to. So that's the skills testing. And if you need longer than the allotted time, if you need a little bit of time to go over, you can purchase extra time in 3-month increments. And it's a very flexible, very high standards program. So that's it. It's taking what I discerned from the founders, from all the people I interviewed over all these years, and creating basically a process to deepen your connection to your calling from God or Goddess or divine flow, whatever words you use to describe the holy, infinite mystery that guides us through life. And to help people in that transition from being spiritual students and spiritual seekers to being helping professionals, spiritual helping professionals. And I guess the last thing I want to say about how the program is structured is that for each of the 3 action levels, there's a live class. It's the only thing you have to do in person, face-to-face, a 3-day class. There's one in September coming up for the Healer Counselor program, one in March of next year coming up for the Minister program, one of June of next year coming up for the Doctor of Ministry program. And I'll teach those classes the first time and maybe a couple times after that, but some other people will also be teaching those so that they'll be spreading out through the country and through the world. And people who are interested in those classes have no obligation to come to seminary. It's a way they can check us out face-to-face. And in those classes, skills will be taught that will augment the other things that you've learned, the other healing schools that you've gone to, skills that are really essential at the heart of what it is that Tzaddi is all about, which is experiencing the infinite, loving, and co-creative presence of the divine. So that's the discussion, the starting point for the discussion. I'm going to put the stick down and invite anybody who wants to unmute and pick up the stick and share your question or your story. And I'll be quiet now. Picking up the stick again. Embedded in every part of this curriculum are energies to support spiritual transformation and growth and healing and evolution. So I expect anyone who enrolls to begin to go into process because you're really changing your vibrational level when you start to align with and connect with these energies. And I think that's important for those of us who are mystics and spiritual seekers. This is not a rubber stamp. This is not just a bunch of hoops that you have to jump through. There's real meaning here, and there's real vibrational attunement here. So I'll put the stick down. I needed to say that as well.
This is Diane. I'm in Virginia, and I've had the good fortune to have done the core curriculum, healer counselor, and I'm just about completed with the minister program. And last night I was writing up a document about my own spiritual awakening and was really amazed at, as I went deeper into sharing various vignettes and so on, this transmission with information that I had no awareness of came through. And it was so real and so palpable and so connected. And it was so, it was just quite an amazing experience. And I am glad that you picked the stick up again, Amy, to share that there is this attunement and alignment with something else. I definitely experienced that last evening and in other times, especially in the minister program, that I have experienced this co-creation and alignment with the co-creation and how alive and big and powerful spirit is, and the respect that is required to and skill to handle and use the force in service. And it's absolutely humbling and just, I'm awestruck and amazed. So thank you all for listening, and I will put the stick back down. Thank you.
Hi, this is Laura Morningstar, and I'd like to pick up the stick. As I've been sitting here contemplating everything that's been shared, one of the things that I would like to add to the circle is that it's, for me, a very profound time. I feel that the work that we're doing with the Gowden University is making mystery school teachings available through the internet in safe, easy ways for people to participate in these kind of programs. And to my knowledge, we're pioneers in this area because there's not a lot out there on the internet that's really has these kind of teachings to them. And I just really want to celebrate Amy and everybody else that has contributed time to this, because we're, in a sense, we're part of the dawning of a new age, and that's spiritual education being available through the internet, and I love it. I'd like to lay down the stick. Thank you.
This is Judith. I'd like to pick up the stick and just say, I know how long and hard you've worked on this, years and years and years, Amy. And the thing that I always love so much is your insistence on integrity. And as you were describing these programs, I could almost hear you thinking about, how do I make this balanced? How do I make this right? You know, you just anticipated so much and put it down so that flow happens. And I just wanted to say that for you and the others, what an incredible job you've done, and I can't wait to get more involved. I thank you.
I'll pick up the stick. I really thank you for your kind words, Diane and Star and Judith. I really have appreciated how we've worked together in so many ways over so many years to do this. Anybody who wants to can look at that core curriculum. There's nothing in it that's going to I think, overwhelm people. There's a lot of information, but each piece is digestible. It's broken up into lessons or chapters, however you want to call it. It's posted at www.gowdenuniversity.org. That's GAUDENUNIVERSITY. You can read all about the school there, and you can see pictures of the people who are on the faculty, understand what you'd have to do if you want to sign up. I see that first year, that core year, as a real time of vibrational alignment and attunement. And I have such respect for all the different healing schools and all the different ways that people are able to take teachings today. It was so hidden back in the day when Amy Keys started teaching in 1964. And there's just been an explosion of knowledge and information and approaches. And it would be so foolish of us to say that there's only one right way. I'm so excited about the diversity that this school can embrace. And I encourage you to tell your friends and to spread the word in healing schools and in mystery schools, and to invite people to look at that core curriculum. It's a gift. I love to cook real food, and I love to feed people. And this was a big banquet that I've spent a whole bunch of years cooking up, and I'm so happy to give it away. And may it nurture people out there in all the different schools. May something click and inspire them to do something differently or improve on their already excellent methods. And so that's free. That's out there. I should talk about money because money is part of the life that we live in this culture. When you do decide to sign up, I'll just tell you what the tuitions are so that you can start to manifest the money if you want to come. And the business model was another thing that was collaboratively worked on for many, many years and has been looked at by a lot of different people, very smart people, people with MBA, Masters of Business Administration degrees and lawyers' degrees, and people who have experience running schools. And so these prices reflect what we feel that the school needs to receive to be a viable entity, not a joke, not a shoestring operation. And we feel that you're going to get tremendous value back, but that it will cost some serious money out of your pocket to come. So the first thing is the application fee. We will take the money that you give us, $250, and we will do a whole bunch of interviews with your references. We will run a background check. We have an ethical responsibility to make sure that we're not putting people out into society who are unsafe for children and who are predators. And so we do that first. That's the gateway that everybody has to get through. If you're accepted after that application and after those background checks, then you pay $2,200 for the core, and that's over 1 year. You have to take, when you're ready for Spiritual Healer Counselor, you have to take that live in-person class. That's $725. And then the Spiritual Healer Counselor level is $4,800. So any of the live classes are $725 for the Healer Counselor, the Minister, or the Doctor of Ministry levels. Any of the vocational levels, the action levels, are $4,800. So you can take this at the rate that your budget and your pocketbook can handle as far as waiting to start until you have the resources to finish that 1-year program or come to that live class. As I said, we're going to get a teaching team so that these classes are offered out in different locations to cut down on people's travel bills. And hopefully, if you have people in your neighborhood who want it, we can hopefully get a teacher out there, if the group is a big enough group, to teach these classes out in different places. So this is not pay $100 and get a piece of paper kind of a school. It's a serious school. It's a serious commitment financially. There might be questions about that, and I should stop and put the stick down. So I'm doing that. Pausing. Okay. We can always come back to that if you have comments or questions later. What else did I want to tell you? The school is not accredited because it doesn't exist yet. It may never get accredited because it's unconventional. But all the structures that I'm putting into place, that all of us are putting into place on faculty and the admissions committee and the whole team, the whole crew, are with an eye and a hope that eventually we will be able to get accredited. There's an institution called the Distance Education and Training Council that is an accrediting body for schools that work long distance. And when I was first told by my guide in 1996 that I would be starting this school and that it would be a long-distance school and that we would use the Internet, I just laughed. I said, this is so stupid. Who's going to want to go to school over the Internet? People want to go face-to-face. And now it's totally common. And that's what my guide told me. He said, oh, no, by the time you really get up and running, this will be normal. Just build it with that in mind. So here we are, 2014, 18 years later, and in fact it is common, it is normal, and there's even an accrediting body that deals with this kind of education. So there are rules about how many hours can be advanced standing and all kinds of technical details that have all been built and woven into the structure so that when the time comes and we go to the accrediting agency, we hopefully will pass all their tests. So it's not just the students who have to pass tests, it's the school. And the goal here is to make a school that will live on after I'm gone and you're gone and after 10 generations of students are gone, and that Tzaddi can live on in that way with new clergy coming into service and new teachers coming into their own, and that we can help each of us as we're called by God, as we call God to help us, to be in the world and be of service. I think there is a really big difference between being on the path and being committed to your vocation. I see a lot of people, I've been doing spiritual teaching work a long time, who are really great people, and they're like butterflies or colorful birds, and they flit from one thing to another thing. And that's a beautiful function, An ecosystem needs pollinators who are going from place to place, carrying ideas, picking up bits of information. I hope we get some pollinators at our school. But there is also the reality that when you give yourself to service, you need some kind of a root. You need to have a solidity about you. And this program is very rooting and very grounding, so that you can take all that great pollen that you've gathered from all these different plants and all these different cultures and all these different methods and integrate it with a strong sense of who you are and why you are here at this time. And that's going to be coming from inside of you, not from somebody outside of you telling you. But this program is designed to spark that and stimulate that and rub that and warm it up and help it express. And that, in a nutshell, I think is what it's really about, is your calling, your vocation, and why you're here. In my experience as an individual, it's woven all through the family I feel I chose to incarnate into, the wounds that I have emotionally, physically, psychically, the gifts that I have and the talents that I have. It's all a part of that. So all that is a part of these programs, is to bring you to look in the mirror and to dig deep and to really offer your heart to the world in the ways that are right for you. Because God made you the way that you are. And it's an adventure. You're creating all the time with that Holy Spirit, with that divine flow. And this is to help you focus that in a good way, to walk a good road. Putting your sticks down now.
How much time has passed?
I just realized I haven't been ringing my chimes. We have about 15 minutes left, I think. Let me just check. 10 minutes left. Sorry about that. Dropped the ball in timekeeping.
On a practical level, this is Judith, can you give us an idea, or maybe everyone already is doing this, of the kinds of things, if one were to complete your entire coursework, what kinds of practical jobs would be either gotten or enhanced by the work? Is it possible to make any kind of a living doing this kind of light work?
Well, I read a really interesting article online the other day about philosophy majors. And this is like that. You know, everybody laughs, oh, philosophy major, you'll be a dishwasher, right? Or a waitress. When in fact, philosophy majors have tremendous problem-solving abilities, communication skills, logic development. They are really in a kind of a leadership training. And they can apply those basic bread and butter skills of that kind of development in all kinds of areas. And as I was reading that article, I think it was the New York Times online, I thought, yeah, this is the same as the seminary. And Diane might be able to speak to that because Diane is out in the real world of corporate America and the government of the United States. And she might be able to say a little bit about how what she's done in CORE and Healer, Counselor, and Minister has impacted her ability to perform in various functions. Would you be willing to talk about that, Diane?
Sure. I have, through the International Coach Federation, coaching is one of these areas that has really taken off in the last many years, and particularly even just the last 2 years. And there's all kinds of organizations that have sprung up to help certify people. And this work has been, I think, of greater benefit than the coursework that I've taken so far, which is not to say that there are not, really good courses and people doing this coaching work in the world. But and coaching can be anything from leadership, executive, career. There's all kinds of categories that it tends to fall into and that coaches then align with. And from the work that I've done in these programs, it's just peering into things more clearly, deeper, and certainly the energy part is when somebody says something or doesn't say something. There's the intuitive piece that senses what would be perhaps of highest service for them in that moment, or a direction for the conversation to go. And I would say it's helped me tremendously with a big, powerful base from which to operate to help other people. And in my own evolution, I would say that I've learned to be more spacious through silence, through reflecting back, and through helping them connect pieces that have been disconnected. So that's an application. And just, engagement in the world with people in general. All of those skills have been honed, I think, quite a bit. And people feel it's a richer exchange because of being really received and seen. It's a very rich experience. And I continue to learn through just increasing the skill development in the hearing and the seeing, the receiving, and connection. Thank you.
That was a great question and a great answer. Thank you both. I think the truth, Judith, about the marketability of the skills that you learn is that they're priceless, and that by themselves they're not going to get you a job. I think you get you a job. I think Spirit gets you a job. I think clear manifestation of your intention helps get you a job. And knowing where to put your awareness to work. A lot of people do one thing for money and then do another thing for love. They have a day job and then who they are as spiritual people on the side. And I think this program really helps you start to bring those things together. It's very integrative. And it helps you be who you are more, if that makes any sense. And I feel like the more I am me, or the more Diane is Diane, or the more Judith is Judith, the more our best we are. The more marketable we are, the more valuable we are, because what we are is good. And getting rid of the stuff that's in the way of that goodness shining through, working on it, processing it, building your confidence, breaking things down into steps and building those skills step by step. I think that when you walk in a room, people feel the difference. I've seen a huge difference in Diane as she's gone through the program. In her confidence, in her ability to articulate what she's doing, in her ability to discern when to be silent, when to speak up, when to make an intervention, what are her motivations for an intervention. And that's understandable in a healing room, in a healing context, but it's also understandable in a corporate boardroom. It's also understandable in a team at a small company. It's understandable in a startup nonprofit where you have to make real decisions about resources or attract people who will get your word out or whatever. So I think it's an awful lot like the New York Times article on the philosophy majors, that these are skills of working with energy and being in the world as a spiritual light worker. And I was shown a long, long time ago in a vision, a revelation, that, in this new age, the work was going to be done out in the trenches by people individually going into where the darkness is, where the chaos is, where the pain and the suffering and the sickness is. And that they need to have a strong light inside of them to do that. And for some people, that's their day job. And to make it in their day job, some of the people I've taught have taken these skills out into really high echelon corporate America jobs, and also very grounded jobs like being a cook, very here and now kind of jobs that are not intellectual. And you get a job for sure, because if you do this, everybody will love you.
Hello?
Yeah. What happened?
Everybody got dropped off.
Oh.
But I guess we stayed. Is this Judith?
Yeah.
Dallas is still here.
Kim's still here.
Oh, good.
Must have been just Amy popped off. She'll pop right back on when she realizes. I hope.
Yeah.
The techno demons strike again.
Huh?
Hi, it's Amy. I'm back. Anyway, long-winded answer. Was that answer for you, Judith?
I don't know. I didn't really. Yes, it was a good answer when I could hear of it. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Great.
I would like to pick up the stick. This is Ken. I have a question regarding what you're viewing of using the university for continuing professional education for these people we're going to certify. And I imagine for the existing certificate holders, do you foresee continuing professional education being required and being paid for through Gowden?
That's a great question, Ken. I'll pick up the stick. I don't see us requiring people, especially the existing certificate holders, to do anything else other than what they want to do. There's a very minimal requirement of continuing education of 12 hours a year. That's real-time hours. That's like a one-weekend workshop in person or an online course, or, there's lots of ways you can fulfill that. And that was the deal that they signed up for, and I'm not comfortable imposing anything further on them. It feels coercive. I am encouraging of anyone who wants to do more, and I see the university as an avenue through which we can offer that to people, as well as giving them credit, and praising them for doing continuing education work elsewhere with other teachers and other schools. It has been a huge thing to get this vocational coordination program together, and I need to take a breather before I start. We need to see if this works, if this flies, that people come, that they like it, and fine-tune it. But I have every confidence it's going to be pretty successful. And then I think as a natural, organic evolution, there'll be courses offered and other programs developed. I piloted a Master's of Divinity program, an academic program, a 3-year program for about 24 people, 2003 to 2005. And I'd like our school to have a Master of Divinity program and more traditional theological programs. These are all vocational programs for, light workers to roll up their sleeves and be on the ground and have a shovel in their hands and be out there on the grid works, bringing light in. But there's room for a lot of things in this university, and academic programs is one, and continuing education programs is another, standalone courses is another, circles to meet, like a men's support group or a group of people who work with children could have, interest groups that where we meet and share notes and develop. So I think it's a big tent, and there's room for a lot in it. For the people who are already certificate holders, who are already ordained clergy, and who want to go on, everyone needs to do the core program first, because that's information that most people, if not all people, did not get the first time they were ordained. It was just a lot more intuitive and not articulated. And while Amy Keyes was alive and at the helm, that worked really well. But then after she laid down her role as the leader of the organization, it fractured. There were a lot of subgroups and a lot of subcultures, and there was no unifying set of teachings that everybody got. And there was a lot of not understanding the rules of what it means to be a minister, like what your legal obligations are and how you have to go about things if people's marriages are going to be valid and things like that. So I think everybody who wants to go on, who's already a healer, counselor, or a minister, they need to do the core so that moving forward we're all on the same page. And I'm confident, and the board of directors is confident, that everybody knows those ropes. And then if they want to, they can go on to the next level. Healer counselors can do the minister program. Ministers can do the doctor of ministry program. I think the role for doctor of ministry, which you are, is a lot more interesting, and I think it would be great for us to talk about, if you take a look at the core material and see how it resonates, and you look at the structure of the program, let's talk about how you could offer leadership. Maybe you could be a person who would generate some of that ongoing training, continuing education. I mean, I really want this to be a place for us to co-create and grow in the light together. And I think my big part was visioning the structure, getting the ordination programs, the bread and butter training together for the future of Tzaddi. That was the thing that I just had to deliver. I couldn't put it down. I just had to keep working on it. And I think now is the time when we'll see what your calling is and what other people's callings are for their contributions. Does that start to answer?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a great question.
This is Judith again. I'm just thinking, of course, you know I do work with people in prison, and I'm wondering if long-term you would consider something that would be just an in-writing correspondence course. I know it wouldn't have the breadth and depth, but to bring any kind of new thinking and light into those places, if there are people who have the determination to do it, I think would be quite a way to spread some light. I know they do have Bible study courses and, you know, other kinds of correspondence courses. Is it possible that this could ever be done by correspondence course?
It's all correspondence. It's all long distance except for the face-to-face 21-hour class at each level.
Yeah, but this would have to be writing. They don't have computers and stuff. And they can't access phone. Yeah.
I see. Well, I suppose if there is an organization that can set it up to be the interface for that, like your group, I'm very open to it. I know that for the structure we have set up now, it's definitely needed that people have a computer. But we should talk about it. I think it seems like there's an opening for that, and it would be really exciting to see how we could make that work.
And also that if there at some point could be a scholarship fund, if that's, you know, if that should come to be, because obviously these are the poorest people in the world, but some of them do have family backing and could pay, but in general they're poor people, but they need light. And in fact, as part of our Global Kindness Revolution, we are calling the people in prison that are doing anything toward kindness, which of course is a way of bringing light. We're calling them warriors of light, and that kind of fits in with the macho, you know, prison thing and the gang thing and all that. So, but we're calling actually for a National Kindness Circle on October 22nd as part of a bunch of events protesting mass incarceration. So, and I'll be making a training video, and actually next week, on how to create a kindness circle, and hopefully we'll get that inside too. I don't know. It's all very political, but there's a lot of movement toward the light, but people that don't know quite how to get there or what it is they're seeking, but they know it's something. So hopefully this will be a way to bring more people onto the path, or onto the paths, I should say.
Well, as you were speaking, it's very clear to me. I mean, anyone can download and print out all that core material, and someone could just send the chapters, chapter by chapter, to people who are behind bars, and they could have discussion groups in-house about it. I mean, you know, there's a lot that can be done with the resources that are already available, and maybe that's a logical place to start and see how it flies.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So I noticed that we're a little bit over our time. Are there any other burning questions or comments? Okay. Well, then we'll go ahead and start our checkout process. I invite you to take a moment now of silence and to come into your heart. Think about the prisoners behind bars that Judith spoke of, the certificate holders that Ken spoke of, the corporate workers and coaches that Diane spoke of. People that Laura spoke of who are hungry for internet, mystery school teachings. And any other people come into your awareness or groups. And let's just hold light for those groups to find the best way for them to come more fully into their expression of their spiritual purpose in this life. Whatever their lessons are, wherever they are, whatever level of society, just hold the light and imagine it going out to all of those people, all of those groups, into the future and into the past and into the present. Great. And I'll invite you now to each share a short phrase or a word about what you're going to take with you as you leave the call tonight.
Hi, this is Ken. I'd like to take from this circle the understanding that we cannot remain as we are now, but we have to continue to grow by learning more and applying more within the world. Thank you.
Hi, this is Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Tonight, hi. I'm taking from the group tonight the support, the encouragement, and the light to continue on my path and to have the opportunity to continue my education.
Can you repeat the last part? Have the opportunity to what?
And to continue on my path and I don't remember, it's gone.
Continue my education.
And
continue my education.
Yeah,
great.
And continue my education. Thank you.
This is Judith. I take from the circle curiosity and reflection and hope.
Hi, this is Joanna.
Hi, Joanna.
Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I was still on or not. I didn't know if I was unmuted or not. It's a very interesting concept that you have, and I think that it's very similar to a lot of what brought to mind was an old Native American medicine man once had a vision of all the lights going on in the world, and I'm sure Star remembers this too. And it seems like that's a part of what you're doing is turning on all the lights in the world, and I think that's just lovely.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Nancy. I think what this all confirmed for me was this feeling of our purpose as a group and as individuals, that this is a calling that is a very deep calling from, the center of our souls. And I think being on this call tonight just reminded me that there's a big reservoir of us, and that what this school will do is to just populate the world with more of the same, so that there's a group who believes in the calling with great integrity and love, with an increased ability now to grow and grow. And I think that's very beautiful.
This is Diane. I'm taking from the call tonight spaciousness and growth, and more spaciousness and more growth, filled with love and joy and purpose. Thank you.
This is Star, and I'm taking with me enthusiasm.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us for this Spirit Gathering teleconference. This call will be archived as an MP3 sound file at www.tzaddi.org, and phone access to the recording of this call is available until next month's call. For playback of the recording, dial 712-432-1085 and use the access code 990322#. We hope you'll join us for our spirit gatherings on the third Tuesday of every month at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, and apparently 12:30 p.m. New Zealand time. And these calls are hosted by Tzaddi, a spiritual educational organization founded in California in 1964. Tzaddi welcomes, nurtures, and supports people in celebrating and more directly experiencing their relationship with the loving presence of the divine. Our programs are open to people of any race, color, or national or ethnic origin. You can visit www.tzaddi.org to learn more. Now let's close with thanks and a blessing. Thanks to Tzaddi founders Amy Keyes and Dorothy Blackmere, who started our metaphysical organization. Thanks to all of you who've been a part of our community tonight. And thanks to the divine, who supports us always, even when we're not aware of it. And now, as you withdraw the spoke of light from the center, the campfire, the light, the flame in the center of the circle, and take your energy back to your heart, you're taking with you the love and the power of the group. And as you do that, in your own mind, give a short blessing of your own choosing to the world, to a person, whomever, but give a blessing as you take that energy out of the center for your heart. Internally, that's it. Good. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for your presence. And I wish you all a very good night.
Thank you.
Good night.